Welcome back to Elden Ring. In this video I want to show you how to make the actual best and strongest build in the game. And this is going to be like pretty much a brief description. There's a shout out at the end of it for like what I'm going to explain at the end. And what that is at the end is actually incredibly helpful, so make sure you do stick around until the end of the video. But to start it off, you've got to do like the very obvious things. You need to find a weapon that you want to put in your build. If you have a high enough level, if you've put enough like points into certain stats, you can almost make any weapon in the game overpowered, broken, whatever people want to call it. So find any weapon that you want to put into your build. Then after you have chosen your weapon, what you need to do is work on reaching the soft caps for your stats. There are soft caps in the game. Once you pass 80 with any stat, it's not going to be too beneficial. There's not going to be much of a benefit at all going from 80 up to 99. According to GamingIntel.com, the soft caps, for an example, for Vigor is 40 then 60, for something like Arcane it's 20 then 55 then 80. So what I'll do is put up an image on screen very quickly. If you guys want to pause the video and have a look, those are the soft caps according to Gaming Intel for Elden Ring. Then after you've dealt with your stats, even if you want to use a secondary, I've gone with the Golden Order Seal for this build, then you want to focus on your armor. With your armor, there's not much of a benefit. If you're using heavy stuff, you get quite a lot of poise, which is really helpful. You'll see that mine is only 10 with this build, so there's not much benefit from it whatsoever. But the main focus in any build is the mask, because it's the primary armor piece that will provide benefits to your build. For an example, there is a silver tier mask that is going to boost your arcane by +8. There is also a white mask, which is going to benefit your blood loss builds. Other than that, there are a couple of chest pieces, like Raptor's Black Feathers, that will have other benefits, but it's mainly those masks you do want to focus on. Then you want to make sure you have the right talismans in your build. As an example, if you're running a blood build, then you would have something like Lord of Blood's Exaltation. If your build is going to focus on skills, then you would run the Shard of Alexander. If you've got a Rot or a Poison build, Kindred of Rot's Exaltation. Then if you're doing successive attacks, if you're using daggers or katanas, then you would go with the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia. Make sure you get these talismans right, because the benefits from them are incredible if you absolutely nail it. Then what you need to do is make sure you have a good balance for your flasks. The red ones do restore your health and the blue ones restore your FP. So make sure you've got a balance, more blue for a magic based build and more red flasks for a melee build, or just other builds in general. Then when you are running builds, you have to get your hands on the Flask of Wondrous Physic. It is so helpful for so many different builds in the game. As an example, if you're running a build that's based on flames or fire, the Rivers of Blood does actually have a fire attack power, so having something like the Flame Shrouding Crack tier is going to really help it. If you're a little bit low on your dexterity, you can run the Dex Not Crystal tier. There are other tiers that will boost your other stats. Then to pair with the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia, if you're running a katana build, you would get something like the Thorny Crack tier, because it temporarily boosts your successive attack power. Another thing you can also do is take aromatics for extra buffs. If we go into my crafting menu just quickly and we have a look, where are they? Right here, you'll see there's Blood Boil Aromatic. We've then got Iron Jar. This one uses FP to temporarily turn the wielder's body to steel. So it's going to increase your poise. It's going to help you basically not get staggered and interrupted whilst you're using spells or attacks or whatever you're doing. As I said, you can run a seal if you want to cast some incantations for extra buffs. There are weapons and things that will buff your builds as well. So that's where the shout out comes into it. Credit to Leviathan for this information. I'll leave a link to his exact video in the description, so you guys can go and check it out in depth. It's basically how to go from like 130 damage up to 10,000 damage just on the way you build, put your build together. So the main thing to note is you cannot overlap buffs. So if there's something like an aura buff with the Commander Standard, if we quickly take a look, the Commander Standard has a skill called Rallying Standard, and you'll see that you hoist the war banner aloft and give a rallying command. It raises attack power and defense for yourself and nearby allies. Golden Veil is also known as an aura buff, so you can't stack them together. So what you do have in the game are body buffs like the Blood Boil Aromatic we had a look at. Then there are aura buffs like Golden Veil. There are weapon buffs like Royal Knight's Resolve. And then there are special buffs like the Jellyfish Shield. So you can put one of each of the buffs into your build. And then alongside that, to make the actual best and strongest build in the game, you would have to also focus on the level of your weapon. Weapons that use somber smithing stones go up to +10. Those that use standard smithing stones go to +25. But also with the level of your weapon, you have to focus on your stats, reaching those soft caps. You get buffs from your flask, buffs from the talismans, and then also there are enemy weaknesses to focus on. And they are all there to help you put the best build together. So make sure that you utilize everything you possibly can to put your build together, and make sure that it all synergizes. You don't want to be running around with a Rivers of Blood and then a Giant Crusher. You've got Talismans on for a magic build. You're just not going to output any damage. I mean, with your armor you could get some poison, you won't be interrupted, but your build's going to be a mess. Make sure that it's focused and make sure that you get the most out of it. What we're going to do is leave that video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments. Also, if you're not currently subbed to the channel, make sure you do turn notifications on. If you did enjoy this video, leaving a like is always appreciated. And if you want to support me further as a creator, then check out the links in the description. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it.